And welcome back to the weekly baseball rundown. I got Johnny, I got Josh, and I got Kurt back from his well-needed vacation.
Thank you.
Welcome back, brothers.
Okay,
Thanks.
we are going to talk about unbreakable records. So that means Johnny Vandermeer's 2 no-hitters in a row because you'd have to pitch 3 in a row. Nolan Ryan in his 27 years. No, not 27 years he played Major League Baseball from 1966 until 1993. And he has the most strikeouts ever at 5,714. And the distinction that people forget about is when Nolan Ryan tore his elbow, pretty much throwing as hard as he could, his last pitch would have been called a strike at 98 miles an hour. That was his last pitch ever when he tore up his elbow at 46. So, unbreakable records. Josh, I'm going to start with you. What is an unbreakable record you don't see being broken anytime soon?
Well, when you brought this topic up, I sat here thinking about while we were off the air, and one of the records it comes to my head as a Cubs fan is the Kerry Wood game. I don't see another pitcher hitting 20 strikeouts in a single game anymore with the metrics the way they are on the pitch count. So his record is safe.
Well, he has the National League record, and the American League record is 20 strikeouts. The sad part is it's not that it won't happen again. It's just that pitch counts.
Yeah, the pitch counts are killing the game a little bit.
Because how many guys are actually going to strike? I seen 15 strikeouts by Grant Holmes earlier this year, and that was at a loss in 72 thirds. Kurt, unbreakable record you don't think is going to get broken?
I'm going to throw out, and this is debatable, batting average. Ty Cobb is the major career leader at 366. The last guy who even came close over the last, I would say, half century was Tony Gwynn, and he's at 330. His career average was at, 338. I don't have a calculator in front of me. I think I might take a look at this and see how many more hits it would have taken Gwynn to hit 366. So, 200 more, 300 more. 366 is just an unbelievable average when you think about it. It's like an extra. It's because most players at this point don't even hit 350 in a season. It's rather miraculous.
No, it's and the guy who had the most recent 3 batting titles, Luis Ariz, I don't think his average was ever close. And they were talking about Judge maybe hitting 400 this year. That's going to be mine that I have, at least. Nobody's going to hit 400 again, because the last guy to come close, and I think he would have done it, and I'll touch on that part. Tony Gwynn hitting 394 and 94. He would have done it had the work stoppage not happened, because he was well on his way. Matt Williams being another one, he was supposed to break Maris's record. He had 43 for the National League that year. And since my other 2 guys came in late, you guys will get your chance in a moment. Johnny, unbreakable record that you think of. What comes to mind?
2 of them come to mind. Number 1, Cy Young's 511 wins for obvious reasons. Those pitch counts. Nobody's going to ever touch 500 wins or even 300 again. Maybe lower the threshold to 250 because of what we're in now.
Yeah.
And number 2, maybe I'll cover with 3rd record. Number 2, Cal Ripken's 26-32 consecutive games. Given how management is nowadays, a lot of people are just hesitant to let people keep going and going like the Energizer Bunny.
See, that is up there, though, because once he passed 21-31, he never stopped, whether he was sick or injured or anything else. That is a ridiculous statistic, nonetheless. 2,632 games. I don't know how many seasons that is in a row, but it's utterly incredible that a man quite literally was the Iron Man. And the only thing, and I'll be nice saying this because I know a lot of people get easily ticked off when you say something like this, but the only reason Lou Gehrig lost his record to Cal Ripken Jr. is because he pretty much had an incurable disease. He doesn't die. He doesn't have that disease. He keeps going. He pulled himself out of the lineup because he said, I can't do this anymore, and I'm hurting the team. Jesse, Unbreakable Records. What do you think?
Unbreakable Records?
Yeah, like we've been talking about Unbreakable Records for baseball, like single season strikeouts. The record is 383. So stuff like that.
I've got another one if you want. While Jesse, you're thinking it over.
Game-winning runs batted in?
Game-winning runs batted in is actually one I didn't touch up on ever. I don't know what the record is for that, but it's pretty decent. It's a pretty decent amount, and you can't. And even now, Jesse's actually got me good with this one. I'll go to you in a second, Kurt, and then I'll get back to Brandon.
Absolutely.
I don't know what the actual record is for game-winning runs batted in.
There's one with Eddie Murray from Baltimore, 177, and then there's Keith Hernandez, St. Louis, for 129.
See, Jesse's did something that you guys rarely do, and that's stump me. I'm impressed. I'm thoroughly impressed with that knowledge, Jesse. That's great. But 176, that is outstanding. You don't see that happening. That's what they call a hero in most circles with all those game-winning hits. But Jesse, that's a good one. Kurt, go right ahead with what you had.
Nobody remembers Sam Crawford, or very few people do, because
Wahoo Sam Crawford.
He was the second best outfielder for the Detroit Tigers in a period where Ty Cobb dominated the league.
That's
but
right.
He had 309 triples in his career.
Ooh.
That is the last player who is even on the board in like the top 60 who's done it over the last 60 years was Willie Wilson, who was at 147. So I think that one's probably put away for a while.
You want to talk about astronomical, being in your own atmosphere at that point. You said 147 versus 309.
Yeah. So he wasn't even halfway there. Stan Musial was actually a bit closer. He was at 177. But Musial also had about 2,000 extra at-bats on Crawford.
And if I remember correctly, Stan Musial has the most unbelievable record at home and on the road. He had 3,630 career hits. Here's something that will surprise you. Whether it was at home or on the road, he had 1,315 hits at home and on the road. Perfectly symmetrical across the board. Brandon, Unbreakable Records, what do you see?
You know, I'm going to go with the standard Joe DiMaggio's hitting streak. 56 games. You know, there's a reason why we have this beat the streak thing that you can play on the MLB app, because this record is monumental. I mean, the next two players who've even come close to that is Willie Keeler of the Baltimore Orioles in the 1890s and Pete Rose in 1978. He had a 44-game hitting streak. And some of the longest hitting streaks that I've seen in my lifetime would be Jimmy Rollins at the end of 2005 and in 2006. And his teammate Chase Utley actually had a 35-game hitting streak in 2006. And Luis Castillo with the Florida Marlins had a 35-game hitting streak in 2002, both tied for the most by a second baseman. So I would have to go with that, and definitely Cal Ripken's Ironman streak. That will never, ever be topped, especially with, you know, how, you know, conditioning is today, players always seemingly taking days off and stuff like that. It's never going to happen, ever. Cal Ripken will go to his grave with that record for sure.
Here's one that I don't think any of you know of. I think his name was Joe Webb. I'm not sure. It wasn't Spud Webb, but no, it was Earl Webb. Excuse me. I finally remember the right name. He has the record for most doubles in a single season. It's not been touched, but the only one who's come close is Freddie Freeman when he had 59. Earl Webb had 67 doubles in a single season. 67. And this was years ago. So
that would have been a shorter season.
Yeah, you rarely see anybody get to 50 now, let alone 60. But 67. Then puts it up there with Sam Crawford's 309 triples. That's just one of those things that you don't break. But now, here's my question for you guys. What is your favorite record that's been broken, that was deemed unbreakable for years? Your favorite broken record that was deemed to be untouchable, unbreakable? Josh?
I don't have an answer for that one. I really don't have a favorite. But I do like when a player breaks a record that people think is so unattainable, because it elevates the player's status a little bit.
There you go. Don't have to have a favorite. That's just the spirit of it. Is somebody breaks the record, that's all you can ever ask for.
Absolutely.
Johnny?
Okay. We all know about how Barry Bonds' 762 home runs was suspicious. That was pretty. Yeah. I never thought that he would top Hank Aaron, but he did that, and Sadaharu's 868. But that's another sphere altogether. But no hate towards either of those records, truth be told. And in regards to Barry Bonds, unfortunately, it's just part of the thing that was just how it was. It is what it is.
That is just one of those things where in America it's different. Over in Japan, they don't throw as hard, but they throw from so many different arm angles. But another thing is, Sadaharu played from 1959 until 1980. 868 home runs over a 21-year span. He had to average, I think it was 43 a year to get to that record. I think it was 43, somewhere in there. But that's damn near impossible to touch. But the day somebody does, because the single season record there was smaller than over here, but it was so just cherished by them. When Sadaharu was managing there in Japan, and a guy came close to his single season record, he'd have a guy, he'd threaten the pitchers. He'd say, for every pitch you throw that's a strike to this guy, 5,000. And over there, that's a lot of money. Here, not as much, but 5,000 for every strike. He pretty much have these guys intentionally walk every guy. Waldemar Valentin was the guy. Big Dominican guy, like 6'3", 6'4", about 260. Finally broke the record. He hit like 62 one season. It was over a decade ago, but it just shows some people like their records. Some people are very possessive, and they don't have much else to give. Kurt?
Yeah. Since I'm an elder, I do remember when Henry Aaron broke Babe Ruth's record. It was a fascinating time. I think I wasn't around or wasn't following baseball in the mid-'60s, but I think at one point people thought it was going to be Willie Mays. Yes. In 1966, he was 35 years old, and he'd already hit, I want to say it's like 542 home runs. And then Mays started slowing down a little bit, and then a little bit more. He never hit more than 30 after. I think 28 was the most he hit after that. Meanwhile, Henry Aaron kept going. And in 1971, when Aaron was, I want to say, at like 590 something, he hit 47 home runs that year. And Bill James said, and after that, it was just a matter of time. And the hate that Henry Aaron got during that time was really something that was unbelievable. And it can be read about in books. It's not something anybody wants to dwell on. So that he powered through it was really something wonderful.
Just to check your math here. because I want to make sure I'm always for accuracy. Because come on, load please. Thank you. So he was at 639. So you take away the 47, so he was at
592 in 71.
592, yes.
Yeah.
So he would have been close anyways. It's not whether or not he would have broken it. It's whether or not age and everything, injuries, because at that time, he was 37. He went on to play until he was 42.
Yeah.
So that's something you have to think about is its age, durability, injuries, whether or not a player uses a banned substance. But I digress.
You look at Henry Aaron in pictures. He's not a big guy. I think, what was he, like
No.
5'10" or something like that, and 180 pounds. Or no, 6 foot even and 180.
Yeah, they rounded him up to 6 feet 180, and you think about that because him and Sadaharu O were about the same stature. It's just that one was left-handed, one was right-handed. Sadaharu O had that really interesting stance where it was like a crane kick to it. He brought his right leg, his front leg, because he was left-handed, almost up to his elbow when he was hitting. How he hit all those home runs, I don't know. But that makes it all the more astonishing.
Yeah, Babe Ruth was 6'2" and 215 pounds. Well, 215 depending on what day.
215.
Yeah, exactly. But Aaron was 6 foot 180. Willie Mays was 5'10", 170.
And that's all the more impressive because it makes you think about how right now all they talked about was guys like McGuire and stuff like that, where they were real big guys. It was never about being a big guy back then. It was about having that driving force where you see guys like Mays and Aaron. It's all lower half. It's upper body strength when it comes to fastballs, but nothing other than that.
Everybody said Aaron had the quickest wrists they'd ever seen. He just the swing was just so quick.
There you go. Brandon, your turn.
So mine is a little bit quirky. I'm going to talk about Jamie Moyer for a second. Because in 2012, on April 17th, at the age of 49 years young, he became the oldest pitcher in baseball to record a win. And that he did. And he played, that was his 25th season in the league. He came into the league in 1986, played with so many teams. And on that day, in April, he recorded the oldest pitcher to ever record a win at the age of 49 years young. That's pretty impressive.
And I had his book. I gave it to one of my coworkers, and it was basically him. Because what people don't realize is back in 2010, when he was still pitching, he was 47. He had to get Tommy John surgery at 47 years old, and most guys at that point are just like, 47. Oh, hey, I got a wife and kids. I got to worry about my future. He said no. He said, just try and tell me no. That was the name of his book, I believe. And 48 comes and goes. He doesn't get signed. He's recovering in 2011.
Yeah, just tell me I can't.
Yeah, just tell me I can't. 2012 comes along. And he's throwing 78-mile-an-hour softballs up to the plate. These young hitters are so just fooled by a man who's pitched for Baltimore, Philadelphia, Chicago, Boston, Seattle. He pitched for St. Louis and
Philly.
Chicago at one point. He pitched for so many teams. They called him a journeyman. As old as he was, I think at 40, he won 21 games. He has the record. This is unbelievable, too. After the age of 40, he didn't get older. He got better. He has the most wins by a man after the age of 40. He pitched 9 more seasons after that. You want to talk about longevity with Nolan Ryan? Sure. He was a hard thrower, though. Jamie Moyer was throwing 78 miles an hour to guys who haven't seen that stuff since Little League. Yeah. And here's 6 degrees of direction for you. In 2012, when he finally retired, he had faced 8% of all major league players at that point. 8% of
Insane.
every player. That is why we love the game of baseball. And even now, he is 63 now, I think. He just turned 63 this year. He still throws batting practice to his kids. So, again, guy did not throw hard, but he lasted. Jesse? So, this one is your favorite record that's been broken.
Oh, mine would have to be in 1999, where the battle between was it between Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa on
So that was 98. 98.
Yeah, that was 98. Oh, I forgot who it was that did it. Was it Barry Bonds in 99?
No, it was McGuire and Sosa in 98.
Okay.
And then Bonds broke it in 2001.
Yeah, that one. That was my favorite one, even though there was controversy behind it. Those were some good times. Seeing
there was a lot of controversy behind that matchup.
I honestly think Jesse is right, though. Steroids or not, Bonds, Sosa, McGuire helped bring baseball back from the brink.
I agree.
And that's exactly where we're currently heading, unfortunately, next year. Because the Players Association is not agreeing with the owners. And this is something I'm saying outright because Bryce Harper said this. When Manfred tried to come into the Phillies locker room, he told him, get the out of here. Get the 4-letter word out of here. Because he said, if I wanted to talk to you, we'd have a contract right now and we wouldn't be talking to each other like we're best friends. That's what Rob Manfred is currently doing to the state of baseball. And the fact that there's been a work stop, there was going to be a work stoppage in 2020 if there was no season where they only played 60 games. Here's my 2 cents about this. The record that should have never been broken isn't wins or losses in a season. It's work stoppage. It should never be about it should not be about numbers on a paycheck, who gets what loyalty lies there, and who you're screwing over. There's a bunch of people you're screwing over. The fans. The fans come to a ball game to watch your lazy carcass get out of the box, scratch yourself for 9 innings, and then get back in the fucking box. Excuse my language. But here's the thing. In 1994, I wasn't born yet. I turned 30 in a month and a half. I watched baseball in 2004 when I was 9. That was my first ever game, was watching the A's and the Angels at one of the best stadiums I've ever been to and probably ever will be to. I watched 40,000 fans. Even though the A's were out of it, I watched 40,000 fans sway and laugh and sway and laugh. It wasn't about contracts then. It wasn't about money now. It's because the commissioner of baseball doesn't know how to handle anything. He was Bud Selig's best friend, right-hand man, and everything else. And this is the record I'd like to see broken is this. Commissioners who don't give a flying fuck about baseball. Give us an actual commissioner that cares. Don't give us a Goodell. Don't give us a freaking Adam Silver. Give us a good commissioner for once. Okay. Now that I'm done ranting a little bit. The next one is, what record would you guys like to see broken again? As in, the next record has been set. You want to see it broken again? Which one? I'm going to start with the guy who knows the most and who's been on the earth longest. Kurt, what record would you like to see broken again in your lifetime?
Oh, boy. It's never going to happen. And it's partially because I'm not a Yankee fan. But I'd love to see some team break the record for most consecutive World Series wins. Right now, we're at 5. The Yankees have been at 5 forever and ever, and that's probably going to stay. But it would really be something for one team to manage to do that.
For a 6th.
Yep.
That I don't think you're right, and I don't think you're wrong here, and I'm not taking a neutral stance. I think with the salary cap being the way it is, and with the way the Dodgers are going, I think if they just maybe, keep with what they have, the Dodgers may be the team to do it. I think they would be.
But I think it's extremely unlikely, if only because now that we've got 3 rounds of playoffs, when the Yankees got that record, you only had to win the regular season, and then you were in the World Series. And it was the same thing for other sports. That's how the Celtics won so many years in a row. That's how the Canadians won so many years in a row. Because, once you won the regular season, you were on to the championship round. Now there's 3 rounds of playoffs. Strange things happen.
And to me, that's what makes it more interesting. I don't like it when I don't hate it right now where there's 3 rounds of playoffs. To me, it's not about profit. It's about enjoying the game for longer. That's the way I see it. For the World Series, in fact, too. Because very few people get to see a team make it to the World Series, let alone watch their team gruel and claw and scratch to get there. But you're absolutely right, Kurt. You're absolutely right, and I 100% agree with it. If the Dodgers had the ability to do it, like they kept making it every other year during the late 10s and the early 20s, that'd be different. But unfortunately, it's not.
Yankees actually came close to tying it. I remember they won 4 out of 5 between 96 and 2000.
Yeah, 97 they lost to the Indians.
Yep.
98 they beat the Padres. 99 they beat the Braves after beating them in 96. And then 2000 they beat the Mets. Mm-hmm. But thank God for the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks kept that from happening twice, and that would have been even worse because then they would have had that shirt that said 5 one decade, 5 another decade. And I would have honestly been sick. Brandon, what would you like to see broken again in your lifetime? What record?
This hasn't even been broken at all, but I want to see a 5 home run game in baseball.
It came so close to happening
tonight. It came so close tonight.
Schwarber, I didn't get a chance to talk about that, but David and Josh and I were watching it. Schwarber hit 4 home runs, and he missed it. He missed the 5th one because it was a position player pitching. And I'm not saying that's an unfair advantage either way. I know Nick Kurtz did it when he was hitting against Houston, and he hit his 4th on
what's going on, guys?
Trying to finish my statement. The only guy to ever come close, and you guys might not know this, but it was the guy who got traded for Ken Griffey Jr. back in the 2000s. Mike Cameron had a 4 home run game.
Against the White Sox.
Yeah, against the White Sox. Him and Brett Boone were the first teammates to hit 2 home runs in the same
inning, back to back in the first.
I think it was off either John Roush or Jim Parquet. It was one of those guys who gave it up. It was one of those guys, but Cameron in his 5th at bat, he almost had 5 consecutive home runs. He flew out to the warning track to end his quest. So I agree with Brandon. 5 home runs would be incredible, but honestly, with the torpedo bat, I expected more because that's the first 50 home run season by a catcher happened this year with Cal Raleigh too.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a chance for 60. We're not even done with the season yet.
And that's with him being ice cold after the All-Star break.
Hey, that's what happens because The A's have a guy named Shea Langoliers. He's been hitting more home runs than Raleigh has. He's got 18 now. No, 17 since the break. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But I agree. 5 home runs, grand slams. Oh God.
Oh my God.
David, you're gonna make us go for an hour if you keep me talking here. Okay. Johnny, I'm going to give you a chance to talk before I keep going, because once you get me going, I don't shut up.
Okay, first of all, before I begin, to this day, even a quarter century later, I'm still pissed the Yankees beat the Mariners in the 2000 ALCS. That would have been a great World Series Mets-Mariners. The apology series, because both of those teams were added as an apology by MLB for letting their teams go elsewhere. But with that out of the way, I think, don't laugh, but I think that Barry Bonds 73 could be broken. I mean, there's an outside chance of that the way I see it. Given how Cal Raleigh's been, it just might happen. It just might.
I'm not going to laugh, because honestly, when Raleigh started hitting earlier this year, I thought it could. I thought it was going to happen. I thought he was going to put Judge's 62 that he just hit in the rear view until the home run derby. Because, as we all know, the home run derby ruins your swing. I liked the 10-out variation. I love the 10-out variation. Because that way you're not put on a clock where you just have to keep swinging in the same direction like you're chopping a tree down. That screws up your swing and makes it that much worse. But Johnny has a point. I think 73 is not unattainable. I think it's possible with the way pitchers pitch now. Even the smaller guys are hitting more home runs than ever. So Johnny is absolutely correct. Jesse, what record?
I would love to see the single season home run beaten.
I think it is attainable, though. I'm not saying 74 is impossible anymore because of these bats. All you have to do is hit against guys who are throwing hard. Because even I think it was the other night, Elliot Ramos was facing Reese McGuire, and Reese McGuire threw a 38-mile-an-hour floater, and he hit it 400 feet. So the home run record is not safe in this day and age. And Josh, home run record, whatever record you'd like to see broken again in your lifetime.
Well, you guys might find this strange. Stolen bases. Because I looked it up while we were all talking here, and the all-time record for stolen bases in a single season is 138. It was set by Hugh Nycol in 1987, and he beat Ricky Henderson's record of 130. Yes, 130. And the previous record before that was 118 by Lou Brock in 74. And the reason why I say stolen bases, I like the athleticism that players show when they steal a base. I mean, especially the really, 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 really quick ones.
See, and I'm going to piggyback off this one for you because I know we're at 33 minutes, and I'm sorry that we ran over a little bit here. But the one who I thought for the longest time was going to do it, his career ended with a thud after he got released by the White Sox a couple years ago. Billy Hamilton, the fastest man in baseball. There was a play where he was facing, I forget who was on the mound, but it was Brenneman Brenneman was making the call. Ball was bunted towards first base. Gabby Sanchez was the first baseman. Billy Hamilton swing moves the first baseman, and he lands on the base. Unbelievable. He had like 130 steals in the minors. I thought he was going to break Henderson's record and then some. His biggest problem, he couldn't get on base.
Yeah, you can't steal first base. That was what I was going to say.
No, and that's exactly it. Because if you ever look at Ricky Henderson's numbers, he finished with 3,000 hits. 3,055. That's how he stole 1,406.
Yes.
He had so many walks. You've got to get on base. And Kurt's right. You can't steal first base. 1,400 steals? I would love for someone to attain that much, especially now. But I look at a guy like, what's his name? De La Cruz from the Reds. He strikes out far too much for a guy who's going to lead the league in steals. You can't lead the league in steals if your on base is about the same as your weight. That's always how it seems to be unattainable. But to put a pin in this, David had a good one. His favorite record that's probably never going to get broken, Fernando Tatis Sr. in the same inning, in the same game, off the same pitcher. April 23rd, 1999, against the Dodgers off Chan-Ho Park. You've got McGuire in the lineup. Who needs McGuire when you've got Tatis? 2 grand slams, 8 RBIs in the same inning. If that ever happens again in this century, you'd be rewriting the history books. Because it's funny, we were talking about 4 home run games. The total base record got tied this year by that rookie from the A's, Nick Kurtz. So what happened was he went 6 for 6, and no player has ever gone 6 for 6 and hit 4 home runs in the same game either. That was the first time. He had 19 total bases, which tied Sean Green when he played for the Dodgers against the Brewers back in 2002. And the record for most RBIs in a 4 home run game? 12. Mark Whitten back in 1993. But yeah, no, it's almost impossible. The 5 home run game is not impossible. It's just that you got to think about it. These records are unbreakable, but they always say records are made to be broken. And last thing before I get carried away here. David said this, and I think it's true. No one's hitting a ball up where Ted Williams hit his at Fenway. He hit that ball so far out to right field. They have a red seat out there now. The only one, and even David Ortiz, who was one of the greatest hitters for the Red Sox at his time, power-wise, he used a metal bat. He couldn't get it up there anywhere close. At 502 feet. Mind you, that doesn't seem very far because the one that Manny hit that went off the Coke bottle or whatever so many years ago, they counted that at 501. I don't think that's true. But distance is a different story because, I'm sorry, I'm still carrying on, but Joey Mayer, when he played for, I think it was the Denver Zephyrs back in the 80s, 582 feet. And this is at Mile High Stadium where the Denver Broncos played and the Colorado Rockies played their first 2 seasons of existence. He hit a ball into the left field upper deck at Mile High Stadium in left field. It went 30 rows up. The guy, that was his claim to fame. His power never translated to the major league level, but he lives as a security guard now. That's his job. But he loves when people talk about that home run he hit because it'll never happen again. Mile High Stadium? Oh, the farthest one there is 518 feet. And it's never going to happen again because when you think about these big guys and their home run distances, it's not about the numbers being inflated. They held the home run derby at Coors Field. People were hitting 500-foot bombs with so much consistency. Even those balls that are in the humidor, those balls have moisture on them. They're dried out. They're not supposed to go anywhere. A mile above sea level. That's something to remember. But we're going up on 39 minutes here. So, weekly baseball rundown, unbroken records. And I think we just broke the record for most records talked about. So, cheers to that. But thank you guys for another wonderful week. I hope to see you next week. And if not, you guys enjoy your Labor Day weekend, okay? God bless.
Bye for now.